I'm a music producer.
Really?
Yes, really. I love his sound. It's exactly what the kids are buying these days.
Welcome back to Boys Bible Study. It's us. We're back. It's your favorite boys, the archangels of podcasting. As always, I'm Ash. I'm here with my co-host,
Julian.
And today we have a special guest with us. Joining us in the studio is Azariah of Yass Jesus podcast. Welcome, Azariah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Sunday school classroom today. I love your show. I think everyone who likes Boys Bible Study would also really enjoy it if they don't listen already. Could you please tell us about Yass Jesus?
Yeah, Yass Jesus is hosted by me and my friend Daniel Francesi. And we do it every week. It comes out every Sunday, and we re-explore Bible stories from the queer perspective. We get stoned and hash over David and Jonathan and just kind of drool a little bit too, because they were dreamy. Let me tell you, that is a love story. And then we also do like stories of like Tamar, the first sex worker, who taught us to get our payment up first,
Big David and Jonathan fan over here. I mean, come on. Like they set such a good precedent. In the fucking Bible, it's like and then David took off his cloak, and then they like kissed and stuff like that. You're trying to tell me they're just friends? Like,
they made covenants with each other.
Which is
not
just
one, not two, but 3 covenants.
Really? Oh, yeah.
And those same covenants are the ones that are used in heterosexual marriages.
If we're both not married by the time we're 40, we'll meet at this cave and get engaged.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dude, honestly, like, how are you calling yourself heterosexual and you're making a covenant with another man? That's like
saying your kingdom will be my kingdom.
That's
like
pretty sus, dude.
Yeah.
And we like, one of my favorite ones that we re-explored was the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors, right?
Right.
Well, Joseph's coat was actually called the ketanat pasim, that when you go back to the original language. And the only other time it's referred to in the Bible is when a princess was given this ketanat pasim on the night of her wedding. Oh. And it literally translates into princess dress. So one of the stories that we re-explore in our Stone Bible stories was Joseph a trans person of color, and really beaten because they were genderqueer, and then, gets sold off into slavery in Egypt, but then rises to the highest level of government in Egypt, and then saves his family. So we re-explore these stories with the queer lens, and it's been really cool to do that, because it reminds me that, our stories were there all along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's the church as an institution which has filtered our stories out and stopped us from being able to see it from that perspective,
Very interesting. Yeah, I as a gay Christian podcaster myself, I very much relate to your mission. I love the show. I highly recommend it. Also, what's your personal journey with faith? Because you have a very interesting background growing up, extremely Christian, if I'm not mistaken. How has your faith journey like taken you to the point you are now?
I grew up Pentecostal. My great-grandpa started the first Pentecostal church in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So it's like generations of Pentecostalism in my family. And I was only allowed to watch Christian TV, listen to Christian music. We even chewed Christian bubblegum called Testaments.
Whoa, what the fuck?
We used to buy them at the Anchor bookstore in Fort Wayne.
What? Yeah. I've never in my life heard of Testaments bubblegum. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
It was not good. It was not
It's
good.
not even good bubble gum?
It would disintegrate really quickly. It was.
Wow.
Have you ever had that gum where like you start chewing it and just like
It's gone.
it's gone?
Wow.
And it's like, well, that wasn't good.
I have never in my life heard of this. That's so funny.
That's so strange.
Yeah. So I grew up in a Christian bubble, like so many other evangelicals, and I, growing up on Christian television, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker were household names. Paul and Jan Crouch, all of them. And those were my role models. I remember going to camp meetings in South Bend, Indiana at Lester Summerall's church and like taking my Bible and asking these famous televangelists to sign my Bible.
That's so cool.
Do you still have it?
Oh, I don't think so.
You get a lot. You
I
do
don't
find
know.
a lot of scratchers with that.
I remember being like, my sister went to Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, and I visited her for a summer when I was 13. She's 13 years older than me, so much older. And but she lived close enough to the campus that I would ride my bicycle and just go to the tapings for the Hour of Healing with Richard and Lindsay Roberts. And they signed a hat for me one time, and I took it to like a secondhand store, where they buy things from people, right?
Right.
And I was like, "This is signed by the Richard Roberts. How much money would you give me for this?" And he's like, "Who's Richard Roberts?" But that's kind of the bubble I grew up in, and so I wanted to be like these people that I saw on TV naturally, and so I started volunteering at the local Christian TV station over in Edgerton, Ohio, Channel 63 WINM, Winham. You do get it, Winham.
That's a good call letter. Yeah, that's a good
and I got involved there, and then right off high school, started working in Christian television, and then got my own show at the age of 20, and started syndicating on different Christian networks, like TBN and the NRB network. And
what was the show?
It's called The Remix. And we were a weekly 30-minute music entertainment show that featured Christian bands. We had 3 segments. We had a cooking segment, a shopping, and then an interview segment. Each segment was divided with a music video. So that would be our segue, was a top 3 music video countdown. And so we had like Jars of Clay, Rachel Lampa,
all the kings and queens.
All the kings and queens, honey, and in-betweens. But now my faith, where I'm at now, is I came out, lost the show, got fired from everything. Paul Crouch told them to pull my show from there immediately. And here's the tea. Do you want the tea?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honey, buckle up. Okay. So I started work. Do we want to drop names or no?
Drop names.
Drop names.
Yeah. Okay.
Drop
Because
we're trying to go viral.
Oh, honey. Wow. Let's get it. So I got my show because I was friends with this guy named Logan, whose dad is Jay Sekulow. And Jay Sekulow is the head of the American Center for Law and Justice, which was started by Pat Robertson. And the American Center for Law and Justice is the Christian version of the ACLU.
Wow, the ACLJ?
The ACLJ.
The evil ACLU? Let's go. Anyway.
And so Jay is someone that I grew up knowing who he was, seeing him on TV, my dad sending them money, and they fight for Christian rights because Christians are being persecuted,
True.
which, in some parts of the world they are.
Well, sure.
But they take in $50 million in donations each year. And that is ran through a nonprofit that Jay Sekulow sits on the board of, and only his immediate family members also sit on the board of. Wow. So they live a life of luxury, and I experienced it firsthand. And he also defended Donald Trump in his impeachment trial.
Yes, that's where I recognize the name. Yeah.
So Jay gave me my first show. He sits on the board for the National Religious Broadcasters. And got the funding for the show. I was really good friends with his son, Logan. So when Logan found out that I was going to gay bars in Nashville, he said, "I need to talk with you." And so we scheduled a meeting for me to go to his office, and
my skin is crawling right now.
And he's like, this is what I've heard of what's going on. Is this true? Are you gay? Because I don't care if you are.
Okay.
And so I confessed that I was, and he goes, okay, well, my name and my dad's name are attached to yours. So if you want to keep the show, you need to either, if you want to stay on camera, you need to get help. But I'm okay if you're gay.
Yeah.
But hey, there's a
But
thing
you're
called
sick.
conversion therapy.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep doing what you're doing, then you can go behind the scenes and remain how you are. But if you choose to come out, let me know first. And we were what I thought was best friends. We hung out almost every single day. And after that meeting, I didn't really see him or really talk to him for 3 months.
Right.
Oh.
And in that time, I had my little network of my gay family in Nashville and faith affirming people. And I saw this film called For the Bible Tells Me So. And I had heard the affirming gospel before, but this was when I actually understood it and grasped it, and also felt comfortable within myself. And that's when I decided to come out. And then that's when Paul Crouch, did her thing, it's like, pull that off the air. No, not on my network. I'm the only gay one. No. But
Yeah, you were encroaching on his turf, honestly.
yeah. He's like, only I can wear Gucci. But yeah, and so today, I believe in the gospel. I believe in the message of Jesus. But there is so much more than just Jesus. To me, it's what I was raised with, the culture that I understand, and how I experience, how I know. It's the pathway that is very well beaten in my life of how I can experience the divine. Right. And so I have chosen to stay with that, but I've incorporated Buddhism practices into my life as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with my faith today.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I often say that, like, for me, like, Christianity is like I almost call it like it's like my first language. Like I sort of feel like there's many paths leading to the divine, but this is like the first language I was taught that got me there. So I tend to like frame things within that vocabulary and that framework, but I do think it's a universal experience that goes beyond. So that's interesting to hear you say. What an amazing story. That's You've really been right there in like the Christian, television industry and stuff. That's fascinating. I'm so glad you shared.
Yeah, there's so many fun stories touring with different Christian bands, and there's another time maybe.
Please, another time. I would very, very much enjoy getting into specifics about that. But speaking about the paths you can take as a Christian musician in this dark popular culture, in this twisted society, we brought Azariah here to watch a contemporary, honestly, banger of a film with us.
Yeah.
This is a 2017 film. The directors are, let me check my notes, Jason Barbeck and Raphael Kalamat. This film is called Adam's Testament.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Mitol didilachi, malkuta, v'cha'ela, v'tesh buchta, le'elam, almin, amen.
And I'm going to start by saying, Boys Bible Study listeners, you're going to love this one. You can easily find it for free online. We are delighted that it was like actually like kind of a fun watch as far as these things go. We'll get into why that is in a sec, but let's talk about Adam's Testament. Azariah, what did you think of this one? Just like general thoughts, first impressions. Like what did you think of this film in comparison to the Christian cinema you're used to?
Child Azariah would have been obsessed with this film
Yes.
based off Satan's performance.
Satan was really good.
Yeah.
He scared the shit out of me.
Oh, real
Yes.
quick,
Still.
you told us before we were recording that you weren't allowed to watch movies,
Right.
And so what was? I don't know what my next question is.
Well, I mean,
Talk about that.
Yeah, like
Caption this.
We were subscribed to Family Videos, I think it was called, which once my dad found out it was owned by Mormons, that was it. There was no more of that. No more buttercream gang for us. So
Honestly, I still have that philosophy. Anyway, go on.
But so we watched, Buttercream Gang, all the Family Videos stuff, McGee and Me.
Classic.
Yeah, it was. We snuck in X-Men. No, not X-Men.
Yeah.
X-Files.
Okay.
While my parents would be out of the house, which was rare.
Well, what did you think of that?
Well, I loved it because it was like it evoked imagination. You know. But my mom was like, I know when you kids were watching something you shouldn't have because I would find you sleeping on my bedroom floor next to the bed. Right. And it's true. We were scared by watching X-Files or whatever we watched because it was the world and oh God, we tarnished ourselves.
Yes.
So
yes, which you did, and you're still paying the price for it to this day. We all are. So I'm glad that we were able to, through Boys Bible Study, we were able to sort of bring you back into the fold, show you some wholesome quality entertainment.
Yeah, thank you.
Time to get you back on the right track.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, the devil, played by Nick Mancuso.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
I looked him up. He was an Italian-born Canadian actor. He was the one with the longest IMDb page.
I could see. She's got talent.
Yeah.
She really does.
So I think he's most famous for, he was the star of the show Stingray on NBC. He played the Antichrist in the Apocalypse film series, which I've never heard of, but it's from the same makers of the original Left Behind series. And he was also the voice of the killer on the phone in Black Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's been places, and he is channeling a lot of Tom Waits and Azariah. You said the Green Goblin from the Spider-Man movie.
He does have a Green Goblin look to him.
To play the devil in this movie.
Come on. Enough with the cliches. I mean, you see me wandering around with cloven hooves and pointy red ears and fire red eyes. Do you? Screaming at people.
Bow down before Lucifer!
We often talk about like depictions of the devil in films. Obviously in Christian films, it's pretty easy to pinpoint. If you're writing a Christian film, it's pretty easy to pinpoint who the villain's going to be. Often it is the devil. For reasons we'll get into, Adam's Testament is like definitely a movie about spiritual warfare that's taking place on this earth. The devil figures prominently, and definitely this guy, Nick Mancuso, he really has it down. Like his face and his general look like really suit him to the role.
But it reminded me a lot of James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks, who is also a blues musician. Worth a look up if you're unfamiliar.
Yes.
But he's given off that vibe.
Yes. But let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about how exactly we meet the devil in this film. So this film is called Adam's Testament. Who is Adam? Azariah, tell us about Adam.
Well, God's first creation. No.
True.
But probably representative of that. So Adam was the son of, what's the guy's name in the film?
I think Joseph.
Joseph, that's right.
Yes.
Which is also an interesting name to give him. But Adam was the son of Joseph and, was a good boy who loved his mother, loved his family. But then the mother passes away dramatically, but that I don't think was ever revealed, right?
No, she got hit by the car.
That's
by the drunk
right.
driver.
It was right there. She was reading the book of Amos. You're about to meet your God, and then she dies.
Right.
The foreshadowing is very nuanced, and
Yes. Blink and you'll miss it.
and then Adam. I shouldn't laugh, but when he comes to see his mom, you know, like she gets hit by the car, she dies, ambulance is there, father shows up, Joseph shows up, and then Adam shows up. And what does he do?
He like she's lying like under a sheet on the road, and he like reveals her face and goes, "Oh no!"
Oh,
it's like,
jeez.
Oh, no.
it's like legit the funniest part of the whole movie. Why did they have to do us like that? Why? I'm just trying to
Everybody
unironically
grieves
relax
in their
and
own
enjoy
way.
a movie. It's
Everybody
true.
grieves in their own way.
And
That's true.
they just got back from catering, and
Yes.
he was tired.
Yes.
It was 3 a.m.
Yes. But yeah, no, he grieved like Peter Griffin in Family Guy, like finding like a booty trap in his home or something like that. Like that was like what I was evoked.
Oh no!
Yeah, like that was what his reaction evoked to me. Yeah, Adam is a twink lost on the path. He's gone from twink mode like straight into like psycho otter mode.
And you know, because he's got a neck tattoo now.
Yes.
Yeah, of a microphone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went into this movie thinking it was going to be about the music industry.
And it was to a point. We should definitely talk about that. But you're right that for all the music industry framing of the film, it really went past that. It became like way more metaphysical than the earthly bounds of the music industry. It provided a jumping off point into like these spiritual discussions of like selling your soul and good versus evil. But it definitely went past that. But, you know, one thing that I found so interesting, so the movie's called Adam's Testament. The youngest, like hottest, like guy, the guy who by any circumstances would be the leading man in in this group of people, you know, he's definitely the most leading man type. But he's not even the lead in this movie, which I found very odd. The lead is his father, Joseph. What's Joseph's like? What's his role in the film?
So Joseph, he's like this. He's like this Vin Diesel-esque grizzled detective.
That's very generous of you.
Yeah. Well, just in the sense that they're both bald.
Yes.
But he's this grizzled detective who, you know, actually when we see it in flashback and he goes to the site of his wife's death, he is tricked by the devil into killing the drunk driver. And that's his sort of fall from grace. And he's dedicated his life and all of his time, apparently, too, and a lot of the Toronto Metropolitan Police's resources into tracking down his son, who only goes to one nightclub.
Very difficult to find.
Right.
Yeah. So we when we first see him at the very beginning of the movie, he busts into the nightclub and handcuffs his son and takes him out to the police car, and then just tells him to quit being a weirdo, essentially, in his eyes.
Yes.
Father has every right.
You can't arrest me. I haven't broken any laws.
I'm not arresting you. I'm temporarily restraining you. On the contrary, you have broken the law, not according to the criminal code, but according to the book.
So I want to hit pause on that for a sec, because there's in that one scene there's just so much going on. One, the fact that just by being someone's father, that gives you the jurisdiction to just like handcuff your adult son.
Define father.
Right. But you get to just like walk into a club, just handcuff your son and bring him out into a car. I'm just going to say maybe possibly that's why he's not returning your phone calls.
You might be a little controlling.
Yeah, you might be. And you know, I mean, how old is Adam supposed to be? He's supposed to be like what, like 27 at this point? I mean, at some point you really just have to let your kid walk his own path. I definitely want to talk about that a little more later. Secondly, Adam is wearing a wallet chain that is
Goes down to his ankle.
absolutely. And listen, I've gone to several, you know, industrial raves in my life. I hung out with some goth kids in junior high. I have never seen a wallet chain that long in my life. That shit is like a fucking double Dutch rope. I really couldn't believe it.
Don't forget the red bandana.
Right. It is possible that Adam was, as we in the gay community say, flagging. He was wearing a red bandana, and I want to say his left pockets. Mm-hmm. What did you think about that, Azariah?
Well, what do I think about it? It's not my foray.
Sure.
But if you just Wikipedia what the red handkerchief means when gay cruising, you'll find out that Adam lost his innocence. Neck tattoo, red bandana, the chain. Oh. She's not the innocent girl that was just like waking up. I'm just in bed, and his mom's like, "Honey, it's time for cereal."
Yes.
Oh, I'm awake.
Was that his voice?
Yes.
I'm getting up.
He's so good.
Yes.
He was on Degrassi, wasn't he?
That's true.
Degrassi, the Next Generation? Or?
Yes. The actor who plays Adam, his name is Luke Billick. I have not seen the show, but he was a regular cast member of Degrassi, the Next Generation from 2010 to 2015. He played the character Drew Torres. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean a lot to me, but maybe any BBS listeners who are Degrassi heads will appreciate that. But you're right, Azariah. That was one of the funniest parts about the movie. So again, this movie is really at its core about a father who is upset or trying to prevent his son's loss of innocence, even though it's never expressly stated. But at this point, like Adam is well into his adult years, just by visual cues, just by what he looks like in the movie. And it's like, he's not like a 17-year-old anymore that you're like on the cusp of adulthood trying to like save from the world. Like, no, he's like, he is your adult son. But what's so funny is that we see many flashbacks into the past. The screen goes completely white, just like extreme, like fade to white really quickly. In like 10-point Helvetica font, it says 10 years earlier. And we see Adam in bed, and he looks like a little cherub. He's like his like rosy cheeks and like innocent, and his like mom is like, he's still is like a grown ass man, but his mom is like kissing him on the cheek and being like, "Honey, time to get up."
Yeah.
Who's gonna look out for you if I don't?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what we'd do without you.
Oh, well, you'd probably starve to death deciding who's gonna cook. I don't know who's more stubborn, you or your father.
Yeah, well, I am my father's son.
And we see Joseph, and he's got a full head of hair.
Yes. He looks exactly like Greg Turkington, like present day Greg Turkington.
That wig was thirsty, though. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yes. It needed to be watered twice a day, 100%. Very, very strange. Yeah, we had just like, how this movie decided to depict the past. We put the bald man in like a costume shop wig. We fucking like squeegeed off the neck tattoo we drew on our like Degrassi lead actor.
They also like do something to like airbrush his face.
Yeah.
To the point where it's just like a white splotch on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
To get rid of his like wrinkles or whatever. But
yes.
Really the only difference between him at 27 and him at 17 is he has a goatee.
Yes. And from what I can tell in the movie, the moment at which he really like lost his innocence, or at least it started the road into what he is now, which is like legitimately just like a guy who wears like a pleather jacket sometimes, wearing a graphic t-shirt with the blues musician Robert Johnson on it, who, according to legend, was a musician who sold his soul to the devil. Might be thematically important here, we're just gonna say. But the moment that he really seemed to like lose his innocence was when he encounters just this random fucking like blonde guy in like genuinely, please explain to me like what is going on there. Is he like in music school? Was he at an audition? Like, what did the two of you read from that? Because I'm very much in the dark.
I thought he was going to a guitar lesson. It was my impression. But then it took a very dark turn very quickly.
Yeah, it was like he was going to music class at school and his regular teacher wasn't there, but like this like surfer looking dude was there, like was part probably, like
Just like Nick Nolte or something.
He looked like discount Nick Nolte. He was wearing flip-flops.
I mean, like bad, like Nick Nolte, bad.
Yes, the bad
dark
era.
times, yeah.
The dark era, Nick Nolte. But my man was wearing like flip-flops and a J. Crew button-up, and he's playing the guitar. Adam is a guitarist. He's going to his guitar lesson or whatever. And I'm probably just going to end up putting this whole audio clip in, but like one of like an interaction that was like completely nightmarish. I could absolutely see this happening to me in a bar in LA. This is why I don't tell people I meet in LA. If I meet someone on the street and they're like, "What do you do?" I never say I'm a musician. Because people will start saying this type of shit to you, like no question. And this guy starts saying, he's like,
you see, music, it's like science, math. Everything fits together in perfect harmony. Nothing random, no mistakes. It's all about the frequencies, the vibrations. Are you familiar with the golden ratio, Adam?
Yeah.
which is like, oh man, like that is the type of interaction you have when you're like waiting in line somewhere and you still have like 20, like that the line's going to take like 15 more minutes and you just like can't go anywhere and you have this guy behind you who's like, you ever heard of the golden ratio?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's like perfect, like stupid person trying to sound smart. And that they've like remembered a few keywords from the Wikipedia article that they read, or the like I effing love science article that they read earlier, and don't really know exactly how it fits into what they're talking about. So we never explore how exactly the Fibonacci sequence factors into writing music.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with the golden ratio at all, so I won't even pretend to know.
Me
what that
neither.
is.
I think it has something to do with.
But
the
you're a
way
musician,
stairs.
right?
Yes.
Have you heard of the golden ratio?
Absolutely. We all use it. We all
don't
use
tell
it.
us. Don't use.
So basically,
don't,
when
don't
I
reveal the secret.
when I'm listening to a song, what I'm usually thinking, like what's going through my head, I'm usually thinking like, are they going to hit the golden ratio? And it's like pretty, like basically, if you do hit it, then it's like then you're going to get on the radio. Then that's what's known as a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't include that in your song, that's what's known as indie rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that guy on A Beautiful Mind, that was about like the number one selling musician.
Right. Because as we can see here, music and science are very related. This sparks a very long journey. Certainly for the sake of time, we're not going to be able to hit it beat by beat. However, Adam, in some sort of manner, becomes this very sort of tortured soul.
Well, the guitar teacher was revealed to be the devil.
Right. The devil who's like inhabiting different bodies, who's manifesting in different situations. We see the guitar teacher's eyes go all black. This visual motif would keep happening throughout the movie.
That's
as
the one
devil.
special effect they know how to do.
Yeah, there was this moment where the psychic homeless man, who later becomes revealed to be the archangel Gabriel, says the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah, something that sounds that somebody who wrote this movie probably thought was from the Bible, but is actually from Shakespeare.
Right. Yeah. And this is a recurring visual motif in the movie. Evil people, their eyes are black. Good people, their eyes are blue.
Yeah. They either glow blue or they turn completely white.
Right.
And evil
or black.
people, their eyes glow red or turn completely black.
Yes.
Which is like kind of inconsistent on what exactly those mean.
Right. It really thought it was doing something with that, but it ended up being a bit inconsistent. Let's talk about the special effects in this movie, though, because there was actually quite a lot going on with the editing and the special effects other than the eyes. Did we have any favorite SFX moments?
I really like the little angels flying in the background. Is that what you were thinking of?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I thought of that. The subtle angels. You got to look for it.
Yeah, you do.
And then the scene where towards the beginning of the movie where we're introduced to the devil and his interaction with Joseph. I mean, there wasn't really special effects. It was just good editing, I thought. But so Azariah, that's not a special effects. That doesn't apply to this part.
You're talking, of course, about the scene where the devil is tap dancing on the hood of this car, which is fantastic. He keeps changing positions using editing. This is the moment 5 minutes into the movie where we're like, all right, team, we got ourselves a banger. Like, let's go. Let's ride this one out. Absolutely love to see something like that.
The worst special effect, if I can,
please,
was towards the end. If we can skip ahead to that part where
absolutely, yeah,
they're in the, they go to that back room in the club where the devil is with Adam and then his girlfriend, and Gabriel the archangel is there with Joseph the dad, and they're there to save Adam and the girlfriend, bring the family back together. And like Gabriel and the other angels do something where they eviscerate the devil and his demons somehow, but like it was just like this light effect, like a ray of light that just like looked like it was shining in the camera and expanded. And then the actors, when the ray of the special effects went away, the actors are still holding their position. Like
the devil's making this like really weird contorted
anguished face.
Like, yeah, it was so funny. Oh man,
that was a good special effect moment.
It was
terrible, but good.
Yeah, it really was. This movie was very interesting. For most of the films we watch, obviously, like due to budget and like creativity constraints, like they're somewhere in between film that you filmed in your backyard with a camcorder and like $90 million like Hollywood movie. We're somewhere in the middle here.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly the budget on this. What do you think? Like $1 million?
I think I want to say it costs a couple million because they got the guy Nick Mancuso. They got the girl from Riverdale.
Oh, that's right.
Riverdale.
Yeah, she was from Riverdale.
And they got the kid from Degrassi. I think they probably spent a lot of money on acting and then some location stuff. Sure. But it's it seems like one guy's a famous golf commentator.
Yeah.
According to all the biographies that are strangely all written the exact same way and seem to mention that he's a golf commentator first and foremost.
Yeah, I wonder who in the fan community, who in the Raphael Kalamat message board wrote that one for him.
So it looks like it was estimated, let's see, 2.5 million.
Wow. That sounds about right. Because this movie did have like rich person movie vibes. I don't know exactly who was funding the movie, but that the thing where, and listen, I'm just going to say it right here. God bless the rich people because they make they spend $2.5 million making these fucking movies. Like God bless them. I love to watch them. I love when rich people make weird self-indulgent movies where they like cast themselves in it as the archangels because it's like, that's what I want to watch. Like I want to see a man pay $2.5 million so he can like portray one of like God's most heavenly angels. Like I absolutely
clearly coming to terms with the fact that one of their kids is a goth.
Yes. Like imagine, you're going.
His therapist said, "Why don't you make a film about this?"
I will say that. What's his name? Raphael
Kalamat is one of the co-directors and writers.
On his IMDb page, it says he has one son named Adam. So,
wow.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know how old he is. Perhaps he was named after the movie.
That could be.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm not going to give you any money because I know what you're going to do with it. You're gonna get tattoos and do drugs.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is invest this into a movie that you can keep even after I'm gone. And this is a testament of how you can be saved. And this is your pathway back home.
Wow, thanks, Dad. Yeah, this is really gonna like appreciate over time.
This is like his idea of the like making a video for your kid. Like, in case I'm not here, here's how to be a man.
Right. But instead I'll spend $2.5 million on like a tap dancing, smiling man who like, possesses the body of your guitar teacher to
I gotta say, when the devil appears, and this speech is so funny, as it's in so many Christian movies, even though I can't name one specifically. But where the devil appears and it's like, what'd you expect? A guy with like pointy ears and a forked tail and like red skin. And it's like this idea that like, oh, anybody could be the devil. But still in this movie, his like eyes glow red and he like does backflips and stuff. So it's like, does it really make that much of a difference if he's some like demon versus like a guy who still has clearly like magical?
Yes. Take the Australian film Suing the Devil, which we covered last year on the show. That's probably a movie with this exact same speech basically happens. But that's like, another thing where it's like,
it's not a guy whose skin is red, but you can still like, you would still know that person is the devil.
Yeah, it's still an evil looking old man with a fucked up face. Like Christian movies have, they
it's
try
never
to,
like this like friendly looking guy.
Right.
With like a sweet old man or something.
Right.
It's always like the jazz man.
Yeah, right. And it's trying to be like, well, as you said, anyone can be the devil. But it's like, really, no one. No, only fucked up old guys can be the devil.
Actually, I can tell right now you're the devil.
Yeah.
You, sir,
yes,
are the devil.
Plus, you keep telling everyone you're the devil.
Yeah.
My mom always said you know when something's the devil and when something is of God by judging it like this. If the devil, she says,
your hand is bigger than your face, then you're the devil.
Close. She says the devil is like a cowboy. He'll drive you to do things, but Jesus is the shepherd and he'll lead you to do things. So if you ever want to know if it's of God or of the devil, do you feel driven to do it or do you feel led to do it?
That's actually... That kind of bangs, actually. That's kind of good advice.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I say? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was telling everyone that he existed constantly. But no, that's true. That's a really good point. I mean, and you know, the devil in this film, we sort of get the very cliched narrative that in this film, the devil appears multiple times as a music producer. Mm-hmm. Adam is a musician. You know, what's that legend we hear over and over? The musician like Robert Johnson, like the blues musician Robert Johnson, the musician who sells his soul to be the biggest musician in the world. But honestly, Adam did that in this film, and like, what did he have to fucking show for it?
Played that one song that one time. And the neck tattoo.
He got a cool neck tattoo. Yeah, he had one musical number, which was actually one of my favorite parts in the movie. It was actually like kind of avant-garde, like in a way I didn't expect. Like it actually like I don't know if it was like good per se, but it did kind of remind me of like some sort of like 90s like indie like proto folk punk type of thing. I'll definitely put a sound clip in here. It was pretty bizarre.
Watch out, here it comes. It's gonna take you by surprise. It's gonna find you in the night. You better run for your life.
The scene, he's just like looking directly at his girlfriend, like singing alone on stage in a club. And
she's just like, I'm used to this. This is normal. Yeah. This is fine. This is fine.
Yeah. And like, I love, but it was weird that this film didn't really like go all the way into like exploring Adam's like rise and fall as a musician, which is like a story we've heard a million times, but like would have been better. I mean, this movie instead was about a bald guy like arguing in Aramaic with like with the devil.
Well, it was such a strange. It felt like it wanted to be a few different movies.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like maybe we saw the edited down version too.
That is true. Gentle listeners, we did potentially watch the Tubi
studio cut
of this film.
The Tubi cut.
The Tubi cut. It's listed as being an hour and 57 minutes on IMDb. The cut we watched was an hour 24. I want to say I'm glad we watched the hour 24 cut. I honestly don't care if we like missed a couple things. It was much more enjoyable to watch in a concise hour and a half, but there may have been certain things cut out. Anyway.
And it did have the opening credits was very clearly trying to evoke the feelings of True Detective.
Yes.
Season 1. Only because I haven't seen the other seasons.
Right.
But yeah, and like that seemed to be what it was leaning more towards by having like this police investigation into Aramaic graffiti on the walls.
Remember that unsolved case back about 20 years ago where they found all those crazy symbols and ancient writing on the wall?
Oh, that a cult ritual killing case?
Yeah, that's the one.
Sick. The victims had their eyes and hearts ripped out. What about it?
What language was the writing?
Oh, man, I don't know. I had to bring in experts to decipher it. Actually, Aramaic, I think. I can check it out for you if you want.
Well, that was cool because, yeah, it went from being potentially a fable about the music industry into, like you said, a True Detective-esque thing. He calls this, like, detective. This detective is looking at a poster on the wall that says, like, Toronto terrorist, like, on the loose. And, yeah, they're, like, looking up, like, he's, like, looking at the Bible. He's looking at the book of Isaiah and, like, looking at words in Aramaic. And he's like, what does this mean? Arise, arise, arise. Like, what does this mean?
He's doing the Bible decoding to figure out where he's at.
Yes,
to
he's
find
looking
the
at
terrorist.
every seventh letter
He
in
said
like the
we.
seventh chapter of Isaiah.
He goes, it said, we shall rise again or something. And he goes, we, what does that mean?
Yeah. That was so sick. Yeah. How did we jump from this very predictable tale about, you know, like an example of like another Christian film that kind of examines like the rise and fall of a Christian musician is 2008's The Imposter, starring Kevin Max. And, you know, while it doesn't talk about like the devil necessarily, it does use this fable of kind of like a musician who sees success a Christian musician who sees success, partakes in the excesses of it, ends up like falling in the process.
I need to watch that.
I recommend it. It drags at parts,
Yeah,
but you
sure.
would, as someone who, you know, has familiarity with like the world of CCM, you would really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. I know.
It's like a musical. There's like tons of musical numbers in it. Kind of. It's
Kevin
like,
singing?
Oh yeah. It's all like his
Love it.
his singing. Yeah. It's funny. He plays like a drug addled like rock star who's like, you know, on the out. But yeah. Instead of this film really jumps from music industry story to weird
To spiritual
detective.
warfare?
Yeah, spiritual warfare. Absolutely.
I think one of the last music things we see is the 3 homeless guys with like the trumpet and the guitar. And then at that point,
stupid.
and then the third guy who just has no contribution to the band.
So funny.
But he shows up. And then at that point, I feel like that's when the movie became the spiritual warfare thing. That felt like the big turning point.
Very much so. I guess the only other thing I wanted to say about the music industry thing is like I love and cherish depictions in movies where like Adam says to the homeless guys in the movie playing, you know, trumpet and guitar very well. He's like, you guys got soul. You should start a band, make some money. Where it's like, oh, and like when the devil, now obviously he's trying to tempt Adam, but the devil is like, Adam, you got what the kids are buying. It's like
He plays like 2 chords on the guitar.
yeah, like when dude, the kids are like buying like TikTok songs that are like written about the game Fortnite. Like the kids do not care about this one like goth guy like is singing about like it's just so funny. Like I get it, you know, obviously it's like a fictional movie, but it's just like even within the bounds of the fiction here, it's like you've never heard a song since like 1979.
Well, this also shows you the mind of the 2 guys who wrote this, and like this is what they think like evil music is, and evil music is if the music's evil, then it must be popular because like most people listen to evil music.
Speaking of like the perspective from the minds of the writers, there was also like the signaling of the traditional woman role.
Yes.
Like the mom is the one that wakes you up. She's always in the kitchen greeting her husband. This was in the flashbacks that they were having. You know, greeting her husband. Oh, how was your day at work? And, you know, there was that signaling. And then We also discussed that possibly it was like a remake of the Book of Revelations, right?
Right.
Because there was like the trumpets, and I am curious how many times they blew the trumpet, because in Book of Revelations, when the 7 trumpets sound, then that's ushers in the coming of Christ, you know. And then towards the end, you know, you have the final trumpet that blows the
right. If the movie did that, it would be very, very clever, and I would my hats off to the filmmakers. I don't know. That might be a little too clever for their capabilities, but it's possible, certainly from what we saw. But that would be very interesting to count. To what you said about like the female characters in this movie, I didn't. What's that?
I wanted to go back to that.
Well, yeah. Well, just I noticed that. So I kind of made a mental note. So much of the action of the movie was just like men talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like it was like four guys in a room like debating the scripture and then like screaming and like their eyes glowing. That was like the entire action of this movie.
And you know, the main female character, who I respect so much and don't know the actress's name or the character's name, she is just like in the background of every scene, sort of being like dragged wherever her man is going or wherever the devil leads her. Like
no agency.
Her boyfriend is about to let her get beaten by a cop so he can avoid getting like a jaywalking ticket. And still she's like, well, I guess he is my man.
I got a game for you. It's called Watch How Fast Your Girlfriend Hits the Pavement. Want to play?
Why not?
Adam!
If you think little boy Blue over here is gonna do something to you over a little traffic violation, you're dumber than he is.
I'll probably get a commendation for taking care of a couple of lowlifes like you.
Please, God, stop!
God isn't gonna help you. You need to accept the fact that God doesn't love you.
But I think like the scariest glimpse into what the two guys who made this movie think about like life and romance is the scene at the empty bar with the like that's what they think is like a sexy encounter, and it was so scary.
Yeah, a sexy encounter is you, a very angular bald man. You are at a bar drinking exactly 5 Diet Cokes.
Yeah. Like this is, it's so hard to describe what this bar looks like.
Yeah.
But
other than a bar in a Christian movie.
They did a good job of like all of the signaling in that scene, because the TV screen in the background of the bar had the red dragon on it.
Yeah.
Which they referred to later on.
I feel like this was just like
Lucifer.
Yeah,
Lucifer was the bartender the whole time.
Right.
That's true, actually.
I feel like this was just like a chain, like upscale Chinese restaurant that they
were at the
tried
P.F.
to make
Chang's
it look
bar.
evil. Yeah. And that's what it looks like, is an empty P.F. Chang's bar and like 2 people dressed in like a suit with no tie and like a black dress. And that's how you know, like, this guy's here to fuck.
Go to P.F. Chang's.
Yeah.
Lucifer will serve you your drinks. You'll meet a hot person.
Yes. Yes. And then, after you go home and get your nut, you literally wake up and try to commit suicide. That's like legit. Like that's like legitimately the action.
No
of this
teeth
movie.
in.
They wanted you to know.
Yes.
If you have sex outside of marriage or masturbate, honey, it's not okay.
No.
The devil's going to be right there to tell you what a fool you are.
Right.
Even if your wife is passed for 10 years.
Right. I felt so bad for the poor guy. It's like, come on, man. Like, get yourself out there.
The best part was how he's clearly like something's going on just outside of frame when he wakes up in the bed. Or he's like, I don't even know what happens if he woke up where it just cuts to him in the bed and it's just like the bottom of his neck to the top of his head fills the whole frame, and then you have like the devil in his ear, like, and then you see the woman, a close up on her face as she's laughing. Like, I love the implication that there's all kinds of like S&M stuff going all around them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, the worst thing that could happen for a straight man to go home is suddenly be thrown into the world of kink.
Right.
Yes.
10 years of celibacy and all just right into kink.
Yes. Honestly, maybe this movie is a whole warning against like the dangers of kink culture. I mean, constantly in the film, the specter of this club called Purgatory, where Adam is being said to hang out at. You can only enter if you are able to speak a word of Aramaic to the bouncer.
It will be subtitled.
Right. And much like how I imagine most kink clubs to be, I, of course, would never go as a Christian podcaster myself. I would never partake in something like that. As I imagine most of these kink clubs to be, you get in there and it's just like a man in a suit sitting on a chair.
I've never been to a kink club, although I have planned to have gone right before the pandemic. But I have been to the sex dungeon for the lead singer of NoFX.
Really?
Whoa.
That was pretty interesting. I've never been inside someone's sex dungeon.
Yeah.
He had like the medical chair with the where you put your legs up.
Okay.
And then there's also like it looks like just like a window seat, right? But the seat lifts up and it's like a cage basically that you can put someone and lock them in. Has the gimp suit, Okay. Anyway, so never been to a kink club, but
you have been to
I've been to a sex dungeon.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I've always wanted to go into the place like that and just have the lights all on and nobody around there. I feel like that would be and you don't see it a lot from that angle. Like when you watch, there's a video of like Space Mountain on YouTube where they have all the lights on.
Sure.
It's just so interesting.
And all the lights were on. I was not there to participate.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just didn't know if they just keep the lights off even when it's not in use. Like,
yeah.
I guess if you have to clean it, you'd turn the lights on.
Yeah, it did give me very much the vibes of the club, though, in the movie. What is it? What was it called? Purgatory. Yeah. It was serving those vibes. So
honestly, maybe it's really not good to have sex outside of marriage. Like, the more I hear about this shit, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Honestly, heterosexual missionary sex, having like straight missionary sex is like the most punk thing you can do in 2021. Shout outs.
That's like, who's that conservative street artist who does like the Ted Cruz with like the all the
I don't know about the conservative street artist.
Oh, you've never heard of him?
Please look it up. I'm surprised we haven't had like, maybe we did one time when we were drunk, but like I'm surprised we haven't had like a 2-hour-long discussion about this guy.
Sabo.
Who?
Sabo, Sabo.
Oh my God, I'm going to kill this guy. Sabo, come on the pod.
Almost 60 years old.
What the fuck? Sabo, come on the podcast. I want to pick your brain.
Bless her, Lord.
His name is derived from a nickname for a gun or something.
Oh, shut up.
That's and cool, his mantra is leftism is a mental disorder.
Yeah. I mean,
he's a former Marine. He went to Art Center in Pasadena.
What? He went to Art Center?
Yeah. Oh, man. Sabo.
I mean, listen, let's hear him out.
Oh, my God. So he creates art making these conservative
people,
figures look like punks.
Yeah.
Because they are not. Ted Cruz is the slimiest motherfucker out there.
This is the gayest shit I've ever seen.
And I mean, that's the hottest Ted Cruz has ever looked, too.
He also, there was one, he tries to be like the conservative Banksy, and he writes, God. There's one where
if there's anything worse than Banksy, it's a conservative Banksy.
Yeah, he
Jesus Christ.
He graffitied on the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood poster and put Once Upon a Time in Pedo Wood. And it said it was starring Jeffrey Epstein and Roman Polanski.
I mean,
which is about time we took down Roman Polanski.
I mean, he's making a couple points, honestly.
Yeah. You could find much more recent pedophiles in Hollywood than Roman Polanski.
Your idea of pedophiles is outdated. Dude, read the fucking internet, man. You know old pedophiles. Any other favorite moments or moments of before we close out our discussion of this film? Any other favorite moments floating through the ether of gentle listeners? This movie, a lot of things just sort of happen. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is spiritual warfare of men just kind of saying things to each other, which is very common in a lot of these Christian films. At the end of the day, it's really difficult to distill what the war between good and evil actually means. Generally, it becomes a war of words.
Yeah, it's so funny because the devil people quote their parts of the Bible, and then Christian people or the angel people quote their parts of the Bible, but like the devil people are always like, oh fuck, I didn't think you would have read that far.
Right.
Like, oh shit, I didn't think you would know the magic word to make me burst into flames. Like, well, especially in this movie.
Right.
Even the devil knows the Bible,
right?
Inside out,
exactly.
Know,
but they always act so surprised when they're like, "Fuck, I didn't think you would have thought to like read the next sentence right after mine that negates my existence."
Well, my Pentecostal upbringing informs me that you can know the word, but if you have too much of the word, you'll dry up, and if you have too much of the Spirit, you'll blow up. But if you have a balance of the word and the Spirit, you'll grow up.
Wow.
And so the devil may know the word, but he ain't got the Spirit.
Yeah.
So when they're coming back with, when Gabriel, the archangel, is coming back with the word, he's also bringing the Spirit with it.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
And the devil can't handle the Spirit, honey. No. Not today. No.
You really cannot.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it reminds me a lot of in like Marvel movies, there's always the scene where the good person and the bad person are like shooting beams of light at each other. And it's like whoever makes the most like constipated face is like the winner of the battle.
Right.
But this one, it's just with Bible verses.
Yes, it's the same, but it's so funny. Yeah, they go back and forth, and then like literally one of the several like climaxes of this film is when I want to say the archangel Gabriel says to the devil, "Be gone," and the devil goes, "No!" But it should be mentioned that the devil like dies like 4 times in this film and like keeps coming back.
Yeah.
It's
Which
like
is confusing.
Very confusing. The final battle happens like several times, but literally it's like. It's fucking debate club. Like that's like what all these Christian movies are. Like most movies can't go as far as to like show physical combat for mostly just like choreography and like budgetary like reasons. Yeah. So it's really just like 3 guys with glowing eyes in a room together, just like seeing who can say the best magic spells.
I've been in a dark room like that before.
Yeah. And the no effects sex
my favorite scene was when they got all RuPaul-ish and the library was open and Gabriel started reading Lucifer in the church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Lucifer was coming after Gabriel. Like you were saying earlier, you think you know me, blah, blah, blah. And Gabriel, the line was,
"Oh, Lucifer. Let's not pretend that you're an angel within God's grace when we all know that you live in the shadows."
It was such a good read. I was like, yes, get him, Gabriel. Tell that devil.
Red to filth, red to filth.
I loved when the devil was in the window watching the interrogation.
That was so funny.
And he was like dancing in the background.
So funny.
And then the archangel just like unlocked the door and walked in, and the devil was like, "No!"
My favorite line was when at the archangel Gabriel at this point is still just a homeless guy on the street. Joseph, Adam's father, comes looking for him, and Gabriel says, "The boy you seek is not far away."
The boy you seek is not far away. And how would you know that?
It's just some fucking medieval ass like erotic fiction like response, some fucking point and click game ass dialogue. So funny. He says it like 3 times too. I love this shit. I mean, the movie ends. He finds Adam.
He finds Adam and arrests him again, right? Takes him downtown into the interrogating room.
This is after they blast away the devil and his henchmen for like the 3rd time.
Yeah.
And they go to the interrogation room.
Yeah, and his dad's like, "You know better than this." Giving him the spiel of why you should come to the light.
Mm.
And the son renounces the light, and in Aramaic says the devil's
I think at this
creed
point
or
he's
something.
speaking in Latin, but it's like basically, he's like, you're Latin, right? It's anyway, go on.
And then the devil's like, he's singing my song.
Yeah. Remember your Latin, Joseph? Here's some for you. Liber valet. Homines cadet. Dereliquit nos Deus.
You hear that, Joel? He's singing my song.
And then the dad has a heart attack, right? Should I not give too much
No,
away?
no, that's
you spoil it.
no one.
Okay,
Only a small percentage actually watch them.
Well, if they're good Christians, they will go see this film.
I
Support
agree.
Christian films.
I
people.
completely agree.
And I think sometimes the
Louder for the
spoilers
people in the
make
back.
people want to watch it more.
Yeah.
They're like so crazy that you gotta.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta-
want to see it happen. Yeah,
Take some shrooms, watch the film.
honestly.
or just watch the film without shrooms. Your choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has a heart attack.
Yeah, he has a heart attack, and then that's when Gabriel the angel comes in, and and the son then sees the light, and then chooses to be a part of God's family again.
Yes. I think he says something like,
I'm sorry for everything. I was just trying to get back at you and God and everyone around me. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair.
This brings me to my final point. I mean, feel free to bring up anything else, but my final point is this scene really revealed this movie is a fantasy.
No, it's
from
not.
a Christian. Well, I'm sorry. This movie is a documentary about a Christian parent. This is for a Christian parent who your child is not acting in the way you expected of them. This is the fantasy that happens in your head.
yeah,
where
you'll get to handcuff them, throw them in your car, and say, knock it off.
Yes. You drive all the way to Los Angeles. Yeah. You literally restrain them.
You drive all the way to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Go to Das Bunker and handcuff your kid.
Yes.
At the Absolute Body Control show. And then throw them in the back of your car.
Yeah. Yeah. You go into Complex, bar, RIP. And you pull your kid out of there at the Rumble Snuff show. She's dressed like a World War I sailor for some reason. You slam her against the hood of your car and you say, knock it off. Come back home. And this is a film about rescuing your son or daughter from Los Angeles.
Or Toronto, I guess.
Or Toronto, I guess. The fucking den of sin up there in Canada.
I really loved the little subtitles.
That was
they
fun.
would subtitle
the
just
subtitles.
It was
I loved that it was this Flamflock in subtitle Angel. Dare speak to the Narvlock devil. It's the speaking showing that 3 Aramaic words by writing a sentence where you just talk all English except for the one word.
It was so jarring just to see the word human at the bottom of the screen.
The first
not
time,
really being able to understand what they're saying because the audio is so bad anyways.
The first time that ever appears in the film, just out of nowhere, it just says slave in Helvetica font at the bottom of the screen. You're like, what the fuck is this? This is the first time we've ever seen a subtitle in the whole movie.
I didn't know I was in this movie.
Very puzzling. A really whimsical and baffling film through and through. Adam's Testament. And anything, I think we should give this film the official rating. But is there anything else that we failed to mention that we should make sure the kids know about before we wrap it up?
We could have used a little bit more of Amy Grant's music.
I agree. Huge oversight.
Yeah.
Where is Amy? Why isn't she licensing? Imagine they walk into the Purgatory Club. They're playing the dance remix of Baby.
My heart is in motion.
The industrial version of it. Baby. Imagine another movie. If they could have, I know they spent $2.5 million. If they could have upped to $3 million, they could have gotten the goth cover of Baby Baby.
They had to write their own song for this.
Yes, they did. They wrote an
couple of their own
unbelievably
songs.
shitty song for this film.
That's so bad.
Congratulations.
Rambling blue country rock song that was just recounting the story of the movie.
Nightmare. He had a son named Adam who lost his way. Legitimately nightmare.
There once walked a man by the name of Joseph Gable, who made a special deal with the one they called the stranger, and he left this hole with some scotch on the table. A man of faith, a man of law, lost his son to the one they call the devil.
Really bad song. Congratulations, co-directors and writers Jason Barbeck and Raphael Kalamat. Please come on the pod and defend yourselves.
Yeah.
Jason Barbeck, the one who looks like Tommy Wiseau. Raphael Calamat, the one who looks like Jeremy Fragrance.
They're the two archangels in the film. Two of the three archangels.
At the same time, thank you for this wonderful film. We all had a ton of fun watching it. Let's give this film, Adam's Testament, the official Boys Bible Study rating. As for me, I thought that Adam's Testament was honestly a delight. Like, I'm so used to watching fucking, an hour 15 of really, really boring shit just to see like one insane scene that's tucked like somewhere in the third act. That's the payoff. But, my God, we've done so much work to get to that moment. Adam's Testament actually gave us many really fun parts along the way. So I'm going to have to give this film 7 out of 7 tiny CGI angels. I'm telling you guys. This film really has it all. Shout outs to Jason Barbeck, Raphael Calamat, and the entire team. You really knocked it out of the park with this one.
I'm going to have to give it 100 out of 100 links on the wallet chain. Yeah. Real good stuff. Very, very enjoyable. Flew by. Relatively.
By our metrics, it did. By our metrics, yes.
This film for me rivaled Karen Wheaton's "Satan, You're a Liar" music video, and the guy who portrayed the devil in that video. So I'm definitely going to give it a 6 out of 6 out of 6 little Lucifers.
Yes.
So
tap dancing, back flipping Lucifer.
And if you got that deep cut reference of Karen Wheaton, we should be friends.
Well, you heard that. That's a perfect score from our guest today, Azariah of Yass Jesus podcast. Azariah, thank you for joining us today.
It was lovely. Thank you.
Where can people listen to your show?
We stream on all platforms: Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us online at yesjesuspod.com, on Instagram at yesjesuspod. And you can find me at Religious Trade because I'm a holy, sanctified, set apart hoe.
Shout out. You heard him. You heard him. Follow the show. Follow Azariah. On the Boys Bible Study side of things, thank you so much for listening. Of course, all of our free episodes you can find at boysbiblestudy.com. Please listen and subscribe to our whole back catalog if you haven't yet. If you like our show and want to hear more, we invite you to check out patreon.com/boysbiblestudy. For only $5 a month or more, you get access to over a year of bonus episodes. We do at least 2 of those every month for our generous patrons. Shout outs to our patron saints at the $20 tier. We like to shout you out on every episode. Thank you so much for your generous support, Jeff, Nicole, Russell, Marissa. And we actually have a new name to enter into our canon of saints. Welcome, Jane. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. As always, our outro music is Oh My God by Mary. Please check out Mary's music on Bandcamp and Spotify. On behalf of myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Julian and Scott, and our guest today, Azariah of Yass Jesus podcast, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And also with you.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me. Every day